How are you, sweetheart? You look so cute. You're going to be a big girl, huh? My Katie.
I got a building.
It can shatter people's lives. It's called Meniere's disease, and it affects over 7 million Americans. This person's dizziness came as a result of the carnival ride, which affected inner ear function. This is known as vertigo. The feeling after a carnival ride is the closest many people will ever come to experiencing a mild sensation of vertigo. Meniere's sufferers experience a much more serious and violent vertigo in attacks associated with nausea and vomiting, but do not know when they're going to occur or how long they will last. Other inner ear symptoms include hearing distortions, fluctuation, and uncomfortable sensitivity to sound, as well as tinnitus or ringing in the ears. Finally, there is an irreversible hearing loss along with a loss of balance. Anyone can be affected with this inner ear disease, which is often misdiagnosed and many times goes untreated. One of the most famous sufferers of Meniere's disease was the artist Vincent van Gogh. He was misdiagnosed as an epileptic and considered a madman.
The principal author of the new report is Dr. I. Kaufman Ehrenberg.
Nearly 100 years later, Dr. I. Kaufman Ehrenberg captured worldwide attention with his diagnosis of Van Gogh's Meniere's disease. Vincent had attacks of violent vertigo and was diagnosed as having Meniere's disease. Van Gogh was not really mad, but rather a victim of this often misdiagnosed disease. Unfortunately, even today, many victims are still misdiagnosed and too often, like Van Gogh, desperately question their own sanity. Doctors and patients alike become frustrated with the extremely variable and complex symptoms. However, much can be done. Nearly everyone can be helped. The International Meniere's Disease Research Institute at the Ear Center, located in Denver, Colorado, was founded in 1971 by Dr. Ehrenberg to specialize in the study and the treatment of Meniere's disease.
Jody, has this low-frequency hearing loss improved from her previous audiogram?
Yes, it has.
That's great. There are specific diagnostic tests that determine when a person has Meniere's disease, and in most cases it is successfully treatable. Treatment may include diet, drug therapy, and in some cases surgery. For example, a valve shunt implant has shown a significant or even complete reduction of any vertigo. Some patients have actually experienced improved hearing levels after this surgery. This is the outer ear. It collects sound, sending it down the ear canal, vibrating the eardrum. Attached are 3 little ear bones that transmit the sound to the cochlea. Lined with delicate hair cells, the cochlea converts the sound energy to nerve impulses, which then travel to the brain, allowing us to hear. The inner ear is enclosed within the densest bone in the body, creating a sealed system which is filled with fluids. Hair cells located in the cochlea sense sound waves in the fluid, converting them into electrical impulses which are then sent to the brain. Additional hair cells located outside of the cochlea monitor balance. When was your last vertigo attack?
It was Tuesday?
This last Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay. An increase in the amount of endolymph fluid in the inner ear system due to disease or injury creates an elevation in volume and pressure. This is referred to as endolymphatic hydrops, which is similar to glaucoma in the eye. Endolymphatic hydrops is the predominant underlying abnormality in Meniere's disease. A possible explanation for hydrops is a viral infection or inflammation. Infection and scarring can damage the cells which transport the fluid out of the endolymphatic sac for recycling back into the body. If these cells do become damaged, the fluid cannot be eliminated. The fluid continues to be made unabated, creating back pressure and causing a backup into the various parts of the inner ear. The result is the agonizing symptoms of Meniere's disease. This additional pressure temporarily deforms or can even permanently damage the hair cells, causing them to send improper messages to the brain. These faulty messages can cause any or all of the following symptoms: hearing loss, sound distortion, abnormal loudness, tinnitus, fullness in the ear, loss of balance, disequilibrium, and often the most serious symptom, violent vertigo. When Meniere's disease strikes, any combination or all of the mentioned symptoms may be experienced. A shunt-type escape valve was designed to release the excess fluid under pressure. The shunt is designed to replace or bypass the function of the damaged endolymphatic sac. Through a delicate surgical procedure, the sac's pressure regulating function is replaced with the shunt. With the release of the excess fluid, near normal ear function can return with Meniere symptoms greatly reduced, particularly the vertigo, but in some cases hearing can actually be improved without fluctuations for years.
I had already diagnosed myself as having a brain tumor, or going crazy, but mainly I thought it was a brain tumor. And I was dying. I had my will made out. I mean, I was all ready. I was done with it because there was just no help. So when it happened in this ear, I already had Dr. Ehrenberg. I didn't have the stress or anything. I just went to Dr. Ehrenberg, and he treated it again. Most patients you can treat with medication and diet. Well, it didn't work on me, so then in 1988, he did surgery and put a valve in this ear. And it just made a world of difference. I don't know where I'd be now if it hadn't been for Dr. Ehrenberg. I really don't. So I guess maybe I wouldn't say I'm one of his greatest fans. I'm probably sure there's a lot of others out there, but I know that he saved my life. A few times. One time they said I had MS, and they were going to treat me for that. Another doctor just said high blood pressure, which I didn't have. Two other doctors said just stress. There wasn't anything wrong, but just stress and have to watch it. And so finally, one doctor I went to didn't know what to do with me. They sent me to Dr. Ehrenberg. And I was having an attack when I went into his office. And they could tell right away what I had, so they scheduled me for tests. And I had the only time I really got through testing. I went through so many and said it was Meniere's. And then he tried to treat me with nutrition and diuretics and all the regular things you do, and it didn't do any good, so he did have to do surgery. So he did surgery in 1980. That's 12 years ago. And after that, before then I was crawling around on the floor. Can you imagine me in this house crawling all over this place? You couldn't get up and there, and I'd go to work. And I kept a job during all this time. I'm one of those fortunate ones. No matter how sick I was, I went to work. And then they'd bring me home. And then somebody'd go down and get my car and bring it back, and this went on forever. So he did surgery. And once he did surgery, I didn't have the dizziness anymore. My hearing improved, and I could work full time. There was just not any problems, and do everything I wanted to.
You really get low on yourself when this disease attacks you, because you're helpless and you feel like your life is going to be virtually over. I don't think I'm any different than anybody else. Several times considered suicide. Vertigo is everything around you is spinning, You have no sense up or down or left or right. The only thing you want to do is find the floor, and you feel to find the floor because you don't know which way you need to go. It's a hopeless, desperate situation. During the time when I first noticed my hearing was gone, to when the attacks were coming 2 to 3 times a day, I probably had seen up to a dozen doctors. It was to the point where I was seeing a different doctor every day. And having only one in that entire time having diagnosed me with Meniere's disease, and the rest telling me it was anything from allergies to all in my head. And so just finally frustrated to the point where I wish I could remember who that intern was that finally sent me to see Dr. Ehrenberg, because I'd buy anything he wanted. I went in that operating room not knowing whether it was going to work or not, but it was certainly worth the shot, and it was certainly better than living my life the way I was living it then. If it didn't change a thing, at least I tried. But it changed everything. I want it for other people. I know what they're going through. I know that they're sitting there right now thinking that their life is over too, but hey, it doesn't have to be. It's not for me. I intend to live a long time. But I've gone from a relatively young man who had to crawl from room to room to a almost middle-aged guy who now slides into second base on a routine basis.
The Colorado Meniere's Disease Support Group is a nonprofit organization dedicated to providing information and support to family members and sufferers of the disease. The group is constantly expanding to national and international sites to address the growing awareness and is an excellent source for information on the topic. They can provide literature, videotapes, and even one-on-one support. In addition, free public forums with international experts are held several times a year. These update and inform people about new developments in inner ear research and how it relates to Meniere's disease. A newsletter also provides information about inner ear problems, the International Meniere's Disease Research Institute activities, Meniere's Disease Support Group functions, and other important and related news. You simply don't have to go it alone. The International Meniere's Disease Research Institute, the Colorado Meniere's Disease Support Group, and the Ear Center are dedicated to helping sufferers understand and cope with their disease. But more than that, in most cases, it's no longer necessary to tolerate the symptoms. It's time to get off the carnival ride.